Anime has always been our go-to escape from life's challenges. Whenever we feel stressed, we dive into the worlds of our favorite shows to help us forget our problems for a while. But lately, even our beloved animes are filled with stressful and depressing scenarios where our beloved characters constantly suffer through the plot, desperately chasing an end goal that they never meet, reminding us once again of how cruel reality can be. And the thing is, most of the good shows in the last decade share this same trait, and our hearts can take it no more. That's where So no Frieren comes in. It's like a medicine that patches our hearts with its wholesome and heartwarming episodes, giving us the same joy as our favorite shows without the extra stress. It's a tale that follows a lazy, motivationless, prehistoric, racist child that is crazily overpowered as she procrastinates for thousands of years, rivaling Bios in the amount of time she sleeps, postponing her never-ending search for magical spells for eternity. Frieren. The story takes place in a fantasy world where characters enforce magic in battle, featuring humans like us, in addition to elves and dwarves, fighting against the Demon King and his army of demons. Initially, from this description, the show seems to be full of action and conflict, where both sides engage in gruesome magical fights until death. But that's not really the case. The complete opposite, actually. What we get instead are episodes as wholesome as slice-of-life animes, filled with childish adults who have minor arguments every single episode, and clueless sumai couples who clearly love each other with signs brighter than the era Miruo show, but just refuse to confess their goddamn feelings. Their cluelessness being too much that one character has left the cast out of fucking frustration. Our beloved Pharaoh being one of them. Even worse, actually. She even had a fake wedding ring in her finger and still didn't have a single clue. It's a show similar to Love is War, but more like, what is love? Maybe remembering each other's birthday and choosing the right birthday present. It's common nowadays for people to choose slice of life and shoujo genres to relax or compare themselves to the lifeless MCs who unrealistically get the girls of their dreams to fall in love with them despite smelling like rotten sushi, not showering for weeks or touching grass, which is relatable to you, I'm sure, but unfortunately it's just a Lulu. Worry not though, Frieren does something like this too. Realistically, despite it being a fantasy world with different races and a magic system used in battle, it still doesn't feel too far from our world, as the author used these elements in a way that would make sense if they were real. For instance, the magic system and how it constantly changes over time, which makes sense if you think about it, as it is similar to hackers and defense systems, which develop over time to bypass one another. This exists in the show as defense magic develops over time to be more useful. Offensive magic adapts to penetrate that defense, and no one knows that fact more than Frieren herself. Despite being a 5-year-old trapped in a grandma body, she sure to hell knows how to fight, spamming one demon-killing combo of magic that is. She's seen kids turn into old men and villages turn into cities. Knowing how long she can live, she knows that she has all the fucking time in the world. She does what most of us would do in her situation. That's right, sleep through 60% of our life. Funnily enough, that makes a lot of sense. No matter how much time you waste, you can pretty much still experience anything you want, and you'd be left with zero motivation just like her. Whatever goal she chooses, no matter how big, she could achieve it. So she chooses one goal that she could continue to chase for eternity, which is collecting magic spells. Every single one of them, including the spell to look through clothes. And the thing is, despite this goal fitting a 1,000-year-old pharaoh like her, she wouldn't have anything like it if she wasn't adopted by a nosy human called Flame, brainwashed her into being a racist magical killing machine. She found her standing menacingly as she single-handedly resisted a demon attack on her village without any knowledge about magic. And despite Frieren barely giving any fuck, Flame made sure she hated those demons and told her, listen, you're quite an OP mage. You need to meditate and farm and ascend yourself to level 90 so that you could clear the abyss. Kill the Demon King and his army. Frieren, being a professional procrastinator, loved that dopamine-filled plan and decided to spend hundreds of years clinging to the dumb practice of perfecting her aura and slaughtering demons right and left, growing in strength gradually, just so that one day she could defeat the Demon King. One one day, which would have been 5,000 years later if it wasn't for our self-loving nice guy Himmel inviting our little Frieren in a journey to finally get the job done. At the end of that journey, they finally defeated him. The group of heroes became widely praised in the entire world, and they even carved statues to honor their braveness. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, where we finally arrive at the first episode's plot. What? What kind of bullshit is that? Wasn't that the end of the show? No, son. Frieren's journey just ended. Now it's time for her to adopt some children and pat them in the head every now and then. Yeah, I know. It was confusing to me as well at first. But after I watched the first episode, I found myself wanting to see more. I didn't know why at first. And when asked the question, I found it difficult to put into perspective. But as I thought about it with a writer's mindset, I realized what the show's idea was and why I enjoyed watching it. There are multiple reasons actually. Frieren is the most compelling character in the show. Her being a lowly grandma isn't a new thing to us anime watchers. But what I found fascinating is the way age and her perception of time clearly differs from normal humans, which is another thing that makes sense, as she sees her 10 years long journey as a very short time. Despite that decade she spent with Himmel and the group being one of the most exciting and fulfilling times of her life, she still didn't value it that much, nor did she value Himmel and her companions as much as she should have. Although they were clearly special people that despite her long lifetime can be considered once in a lifetime experience. And she didn't realize that until she already lost them. After her journey ended, she wandered around for 50 years before coming back and finding that those special people are already old men and they are living the last years of their lives. You know what they say, you don't know the value of something until you lose it. And that's exactly what happened to her. And this is something that almost anyone can relate to. Most of us might be living the best times of our life, and by watching the show we were reminded of how little we value that time and the people who are in our lives right now. On the other hand, some other people look at how Frieren wastes her life and lives without motivation and gets reminded that life for us humans is extremely short. The pacing of the story showcased exactly how different time is perceived by Frieren than us, and it is a clear reminder for us to live our lives differently. Just in the first episode, we see Frieren regretting the fact that she didn't value Himmel before he died, and what she got is something everyone fantasizes about, a chance to try again. So we follow her journey and see what would she do differently, which is why despite the extremely slow pacing, we still wanna watch. And that is not all. One character does not cut it. She would need some extra help from other characters to carry the show, no? The others, despite being quite simple, they were well done as well. In fact, there was a unique approach by the author that made those characters feel oddly relatable. Like any anime, each one of them is given a quirk or two, but something about them hits different. What you'd notice at first is that each character has one major flaw and strength that contrast each other. Himmel, despite being a selfless hero who dreams of saving the world, is also a narcissist who thinks so highly of his looks. Eisen is something of a coward, but is able to summon braveness if he tries hard enough, a skill he passed to Star, an even bigger coward. Heiter is a priest, and yet he drinks until he gets a hangover. Not only this, but characters contrast each other's as well, in a way that covers each other's flaws. Frieren has no mercy for demons and barely has any emotion, but Himmel has a kind heart and stoic, heroic nature that works as a leash to prevent her from going too far. Stark is clueless and Fern is non-communicative, but Sane forces them to communicate and understand each other. Frieren is careless but has a mommy, Fern, to take care of her. She takes care of everyone actually. Frieren likes to waste time, but Fern doesn't allow her to do that. She is a cruel, childish and toxic mom that still manages to remain wholesome and somehow have her smile protected by the entire internet. The inner conflict and the synergies of the characters were enough for us to watch the show and enjoy it. We just want to see them interact with each other. We were fine with that for the first 9 episodes, but things took an even better turn with the introduction of humanoid demons and the conflict between them. The 3 episodes of that arc were the most rated, and for a good reason, because not only do we witness the growth of our new group, but we also get a change of atmosphere from a wholesome, stressless show to episodes packed with drama and action. We witnessed Frieren turning from a procrastinator to a dedicated
manipulated racist demon slayer. We see her defeating Aura in the best way possible, like the based chat she is. The thing is, after such great episodes with fast pace, we got back to the same wholesome style again, and nothing felt the same. It was the usual vibe, but those episodes felt unusually boring, as if we were drugged and overstimulated by the packed action we're used to in shows like Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, and now that we get it again, we want more of it. But then we are actually back to the slice of life, and this kind of shift in pacing makes anyone lose interest, and without even knowing why. And I believe that was the worst thing about the show. If you manage to survive this change in pacing, then good for you, congratulations. You get to see more well built up action. The thing is, we were shown how strong Frieren is, but we were also shown that it took her hundreds of years of practice to become as strong as she is, showing how much dedication you need to become more powerful. The more time you spend practicing and improving, the stronger you get, which gives an edge to demons and elves who live much longer than humans. And I like how different the races are from each other. Elves and their lack of reproductional instincts, they don't understand romance, making them reproduce less, therefore be so few in numbers. Demons are psychopaths, as they could understand humans but not feel the same emotions as theirs, making them true manipulative creatures whom use words only to deceive. Dwarves, hard-working creatures who treat their duties to heart, as warriors or protectors or whatever it is they chose to do for life. Then humans, who are the most fragile compared to the rest. They live the shortest, but give the most meaning to their lives, something that you and I feel we should do more of, which is why we would watch the show episode after episode, a constant reminder to us of how we should not repeat Frieren's mistakes and live our lives to the fullest. What are you waiting for? Go and give your life more meaning by watching the entire season of Frieren and watching all of my videos. Remember, the most meaningful thing for you to do right now is subscribing and liking all of my videos and commenting on all my videos and checking my TikTok and Facebook and everything related to me. Anyway, stay away from hentai, everybody, and goodbye.